we talked a little bit about Fortet, who's been
Oh Lord,
having
yeah.
a time. And we mentioned we talk about him because we talked about that Fred Again single that he collaborated on recently.
Mhm.
But Fortet has won his royalty battle over streaming music. He's been in a battle over Domino Records because, basically, long story short, he had signed a contract with Domino Records before streaming services exist. And uh, Fortet wanted to fight this on principle because there was a 50% rate that Domino was supposed to pay for licensing and a 13.5% rate that's supposed to be paid for sales. Domino was like, oh, you're streaming, that's sales. Whereas
Mhm.
Kieran Hebden, which is Fortet's real name, was like, no, that's licensing. I get 50%. And
Yep.
so that was a back and forth. Essentially, they did a settlement out of court where essentially Domino Recordings will be giving Fortet 50% of his streaming royalties. This is a really difficult time back and forth. At one point, Domino Recordings just pulled all of Fortet's music off of streaming, kind of as like a power play during the negotiations. So this is like really stressful for Fortet. He went kind of open and public with a lot of it, and which doesn't happen all the time, but a lot of
Mm-mm.
the aspects of this settlement were made public. Again, because Fortet wanted to make the example in saying that artists should be getting paid more from streaming. However, it is, whether it's the labels paying up, whether it's the streaming services paying up, however you call it, whether it's licensing in UK courts where this happened, or whether it's that weird archaic piano thing we talked about, an audio piano
Mhm.
player thing we talked about in Audioface a while ago. Um, there has to be a lot of different angles from which that artists try to claim some of that money back in this new streaming world because it's here to stay for the foreseeable future. And it's a very convenient way to listen to music. Audioface would not be financially feasible without music streaming. That being
Mhm.
said, it gives artists, even big artists, like fractions of fractions of fractions of pennies on the dollar. So there has to be some like middle ground here, and good for Fortet on kind of like finding some way to get through here.
I love it. I'm glad some justice has actually been done for a musician in that way, and they're actually paying back royalties, which is super rare to hear. So it's good that sometimes you have to make these things public in order for people to get an outrage and to hear it. So that way it puts pressure on the label, puts pressure on the industry for them to make that change. So it's very, very good on him. An artist that fucking deserves it because Forte has done a lot throughout his career and is very, very much a musician worth it. And I think everybody is at the end of the day because you should get paid for your art.